metals that were naturally dyed with, say, berries. You're looking at the transferring of pigment color or color from the raw materials to this other place, this quill. And that's chemistry. When you're moving from one to another and you're merging one element of one object with another element, you're doing chemistry. And because heat is needed when you're coloring, most dyes and inks, well, not so much inks, but definitely dyes. Most dyes they need a heat source. So then you're looking at thermodynamics, right? You're looking at how their understanding of heat and the kind of containers they needed to transfer that dye without impacting the color. That's all chemistry and physics. So
winner of Canada's Got Talent.
She returned home to Prince Albert to celebrate with her family and friends and the proud Saskatchewan community that supported her.
We're all so proud of her, and now she's home in Prince Albert. How is the singer dealing with her newfound fame and fortune?
Hannah Scott has the story.
Rebecca Strong, congratulations!
By now, most people know that Rebecca Strong has won Canada's Got Talent. Competing for the show since March, she was triumphant in the season finale, earning the $1 million prize.
I'm happy for you.
The show stage was not Strong's debut, though. She's been on stage since she was 5 and has never stopped. Music is in her DNA. Her father, Glenn Strong, is a musician of many talents, even appearing on CTV Indigenous Circle almost 25 years ago. He has followed his daughter's journey every step of the way.
You gotta know I'm the one who really loves you.
When you're performing, you'll always be a winner if you can make them feel. You can sing any song and bang the drums and this and that. And even a beat's good for what it's worth. But to make people feel something, that's the gift my girl has.
Our love is true.
This is a win, not only for Rebecca, but the Prince Albert community as well. Hundreds joined to meet her upon her return home. But with fame and fortune comes stress and pressure. She has won the $1 million now, but the reality has begun to set in on what the money means for her future.
Invest. A lot of investing advice, which I am going to do, and just be wise with the money. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be smart with it.
Despite these worries, Rebecca knows that she has the support of her family and her community. Regardless of where the singer goes from here, she's happy to have made a change for herself and so many others.
Congratulations, amazing voice!
Hannah Scott, Indigen Eyes News, Regina.
That was so amazing. Everyone I know voted for Rebecca.
Me too. I voted for her, and I got all my friends to vote for her too.
Turtle Island really did come together.
Turtle Island also came together for an international science conference.
The Turtle Island Science Conference brought hundreds of scholars to the First Nations University of Canada for 1 week in May.
One of the speakers came all the way from the University of New Mexico to talk about the contributions of Indigenous science. Randy LaRocque has the story.
The Turtle Island Indigenous Science Conference kicked off at the University of Regina this week. Keynote speaker Dr. Gregory Kahidi, a professor of Native American Studies and Language from the University of New Mexico, says the event has an evolving agenda and it's an important step in getting Native science known.
This conference is one of many that I think is beginning to really highlight, the importance of interacting with Indigenous thought, Indigenous science.
The 3-day event was centered around Indigenous science. Knowledge keepers, scientists, students, and people wanting to learn more on their subject came from all over Turtle Island. Aaron Ennis is a biology technician from Regina, Saskatchewan.
I'm always interested in philosophies around Indigenous science, and he was a keynote speaker, so I definitely wanted to attend.
Kahidi says Native science is a metaphor for Indigenous knowledge.
When you study Native science, it's basically about how do you solve the issue of humans living in the world, and how it has been solved, by various generations through time.
Caleb Pratt drove in from Muscopetang. It's got him thinking.
I actually do believe a lot of the stuff he said, that how everything is connected and everything has energy. I believe that that has a lot to do with science and how we coexist with each other as people.
Kahady says Indigenous thought and perspectives can help the current dilemma of everyone in a modern life.
It's really comes down to that reconnecting with our own lives in a more direct and intimate way.
Randy LaRocque, Indigen Eyes News, Regina.
What a brilliant and inspiring man. It's so cool that he came to Regina to share his work.
Next, we have another story to inspire you. In 2006, Creason Ajikute hosted Eyes on the Street, the TV show produced by the Inca summer students.
Like us, Creason was a student almost 20 years ago.
And look at him now.
No kidding. From Inca, he went to CTV in Regina and then to Halifax. Now he's hosting the national news at noon on APTN. You, Desiree No Name, have the story.
Welcome to APTN National News. I'm Creason Ajikute, and I'm happy to be your new host for our midday newscast.
Creason Ajikute has taken on the role of host for APTN National News. His journey into journalism began with the Indigenous Communications Art Program, INCA for short, at the First Nations University in Regina. It was there, in 2006, where he discovered his talent for storytelling.
I took part in the INCA program, the Summer Institutes, and I learned how to do radio, print, and broadcasts. And I think broadcast just stuck.
Creason Ajikute shows his gratitude to the mentors who have helped him along his journey.
All of the Indigenous journalists that have come and gone through SIFC and FNUC, have some point their journey has crossed paths with Shannon Avison.
Here's Shannon Avison. She is the associate professor in charge of the INCA program. She saw something in Creason early on.
It was obvious right from the beginning that he was like a great storyteller and he had a lot of really natural charisma. And so the students in the Summer Institute actually picked him to be the host of the Summer Institute television program, which was called Eyes on the Street.
I was a little nervous. I was a little scared. It was a while since I got to host a show. 2018 is when I hosted Indigenous Circle's last episode.
Creason began his career at CTV Regina, being mentored by Nelson Bird, working on Indigenous Circle and Daily News. In 2020, he started at CTV Saskatoon and then to CTV National News in Ottawa. He was promoted to Atlantic Bureau Chief in Halifax before settling in Winnipeg at APTN. For someone just starting out in journalism, Creason is a great role model for aspiring journalists. Not bad for a kid from the res. You can find Creason Ajikute on APTN National News, Monday to Friday at noon. Desiree No Name, Indigen Eyes News, Regina.
That's so amazing. Thanks, Desiree.
You're welcome. And it was so hard not to fangirl. I was so excited to meet him.
You were totally cool, calm, and collected in your story. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Brittany. Next, we have stories about language and culture.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Indigen Eyes.
Welcome back to Indigen Eyes. I'm Hannah Scott from Regina.
I'm Kenneth Gordon from Pasco First Nation.
Darian Ajikute came to First Nations University not speaking his Cree language at all.
And after 4 years studying Cree, he is pretty much fluent, and now he's teaching Cree. I got a chance to meet with Darian Ajikute and watch him in action. Working to bring back language to his community, 24-year-old Darian Ajikute teaches Nehewawin at First Nations University in Regina alongside department head Solomon Rapp. However, for Ajikute, it wasn't always this way.
You need to really put yourself out there, with other speakers and be comfortable with making mistakes in the language, because that's what's most important, is that, again, trial and error. Sometimes you just have to say a word maybe 100 times before you get it right.
Ajikute, raised like most of us, did not hear his language growing up. Living on Cowes First Nation until the age of 17, he chose to pursue post-secondary education. Ajikute then found his love for Nehewawin.
We're all good, right?
Now, Ajikute is passing on that love for the language to as many others as possible. Ashley Spyglass is a student from Mosquito First Nation.
Colonization took that from us, and now we're just starting to get our language back, and people like him are what we need.
Because language is the vehicle in which drives culture and identity. It's who we are as a people. In the future, I just hope and envision for a world where we're able to speak our languages within our own institutions, together as a people again.
There's hope that in the future, with the revitalization efforts Darien pursues, Indigenous language will be just as common as English. This is Kenneth Gordon, Indigen Eyes News, Regina.
That is so cool. Darien is a great example for all of us who are learning our languages. I took Cree as part of my Inca degree.
Darien really is an amazing teacher, and one of the things modern speakers need to do is come up with new words for new things.
That's right. There are lots of things that we talk about today that didn't exist back in the day, like science and math terms.
That's right. Like there would be no words for fancy math terms.
But there are now. Thanks to some of the math teachers at First Nations University, there are Cree words for things like arc and data.
Yes, arc is Wagiao and data is Noganwa. Belinda Nelson has more.
In 2017, the Cree Dictionary of Mathematical Terms was created for elementary schools by Arzu Sidarli, math and physics professor with the First Nations University's Prince Albert campus.
And we realized that many words, many mathematical terms simply did not exist in Cree.
He had help from people like Ida Swan and Elder Willie Ermine. They all saw a need. When the book launched, the feedback blew up.
We published 320 copies and we presented them to Cree schools across Canada. We understood that it's not enough and we started working on online version.
The book itself launched in 2017. In September of 2022, it went online. That first year got 20,000 views, and it was downloaded 8,000 times. Larissa Cachamonia from the Key First Nation did the artwork. Sardali's colleague Ting Zhu heard about the book in a meeting.
Ting's idea is to make it like audiobook and downloadable audiobook, so you can, even if you don't have the internet, you can listen to that and you can repeat it.
Be on the lookout for the revised website for the Cree Dictionary of Mathematical Terms with visual and audio. This is Belinda Nelson with Indigen Eyes News, Regina.
That is great. So nice that kids can learn math in Cree.
And it's fun when you can use it for modern things.
And that's what the youth found out at a language conference at the Whitecap Dakota First Nation in May.
It's the only language conference in Canada for Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota languages. And a reporter, Amanda Leader, went to the conference.
I want to help our youth, and I want them to learn it right the first time.
Alexis Eastnana participated in the first Dakota Language Bowl, a language competition bringing together different Dakota nations in Canada. It was held on Wapaska, Whitecap Dakota Nation, in partnership with Tatanka Najin, Standing Buffalo Dakota Nation.
Our goal is to give back the teachings to our people that were taken from residential schools and 60 Scoop and all the kind of things that was done to us. So we do teachings from grassroots teachings.
Andrea Redman is the prevention coordinator from Tatanka Najin, Standing Buffalo Dakota Nation. She attended Dakota Language Bowls in America and wanted to bring the opportunity to Canada in partnership with other Dakota nations.
So, because they're all in the States, we went to go witness and see what they're all about, and we brought it home.
The Dakota Language Bowl was a precursor for the Oceti Sakowin Dakota Language Conference. Language revitalization for the Dakota language was in full swing for 3 days. There was also a Kahomni, a Nakota Dakota Lakota dance, where songs in the language were sung into the night. The conference featured speakers like Arvo Looking Horse, Jim Red Eagle, Harold Blacksmith, and Iris Wawashi McKay.
I want to help our youth, and I want them to learn it right the first time. Realization after realization, in Dakota. This doesn't sound right. I was just realizing like a lot of things that we think like white people every day. Why?
The winners of the Language Bowl were in juniors, youth, and adult categories. They had to work together as a team to translate, act out, and sing, all in Dakota. There were no losers. Amanda Leader, Indigen Eyes News, Regina.
That's so exciting.
When we come back, we'll learn more about the traditions that make us proud.
Don't go away, we'll be right back.
We're back with another segment of Indigen Eyes.
I'm Samuel Tipwan from Witchkin Lake First Nation. In this segment, we focus on our wonderful Indigenous traditions.
The first story is about Pipikasi's First Nation being recognized for their contributions in World War II.
What connects Pipikasis to Juno Beach? Brittany Poitras has the story.
Pipikasi's chief and council were welcomed by the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan, Russ Morasti, and General Cliff Walker with the Royal Regina Rifles Trust. The ceremony commemorates Pipikasi's First Nation for their high number of members enlisted in World War II.
No First Nation contributed more soldiers to the war effort, especially to the invasion than Pipikasikas did during World War II.
Pipikasi's band counselor, Alan Bird's father, Charles, along with more than 50 other Pipikasi's members, enlisted to fight in World War II. Charles Bird was among the soldiers who stormed Juno Beach in France on June 6, 1944.
My dad always said, I was fighting for my land. I was fighting for my home. I was fighting for my people.
Pipikasi's contributions to World War II are being recognized. The regiment is presenting this replica statue for display in the Veterans Hall on Pipikasi's. The full-size statue makes its way to Juno Beach, France, where it will be permanently installed June 6th, honoring Canadian and Pipikasi's history forever. The 8-foot-tall bronze statue was unveiled last month at the Saskatchewan's Legislative Building. Hundreds were able to view the statue before it reaches its final destination in Normandy, France. Alberta-based sculptor Don Begg created the statue. Begg wanted the statue to convey an authentic expression of what soldiers would have looked like as they defended our country. More than 100,000 people are expected to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landing on Juno Beach, June 6th. Pipikasi's chief Frank Dieter and councillor Alan Bird will be amongst those in attendance.
I am so proud of them, they're so brave. And I'm so glad many came home, but those that didn't, I'm so proud of them too. And we'll meet them on the beach on the 6th, and we'll have a ceremony with them.
Brittany Poitras, Indigen Eyes News.
It's so nice that our veterans are being acknowledged. So many have already passed away.
It's so important to honor our people. One of the ways is by giving them tobacco.
That is a very important tradition.
And at the First Nations University, we're growing tobacco in a new way.
That's right, it's a modern approach to growing tobacco. Tyrone Perot brings us that smoking story.
It's just considered just like gold.
The First Nations University of Canada is taking a novel approach to producing tobacco for ceremonial purposes. Vincent Ziffel is an associate chemistry professor at FNU. He's growing natural tobacco in a seemingly unnatural way, using hydroponics in a lab.
The goal here is to work with elders to harvest natural tobacco free of additives or pesticides, etc., and have ways to provide this tobacco to others that request it or need it to work with elders in a traditional sense or to follow proper protocol.
But there is more to the plant. It goes beyond the walls of the university. The tobacco grown here will be distributed in a very unique way.
When one uses it in a way that respects proper protocol, and that pouch is empty, they can send it back and we'll be happy to refill it and continue the process.
Historically, tobacco has always been a part of Indigenous cultures. It's used in everything from smudging to asking for help to sweat lodges. Dennis Omiyasu is one of the elders in residence at FNU. He stresses the importance of tobacco in Indigenous culture.
It's just considered just like gold. Because there are other people, other societies that need that sacred tobacco.
This tobacco, harvested traditionally at the university, will be a welcomed replacement for commercial tobacco that is often used in ceremony.
The practice of protocol of offering tobacco will not be swept on a wayside and forgotten, but it continues on, and that's called respect.
This is Tyrone Perot reporting for Indigen Eyes, First Nations University of Canada.
How cool is that? Nature is so amazing.
Earlier this month, nature delivered something else that was amazing.
In the lab?
Nope, in the sky, Junior Brass brings us this story about the Northern Lights.
Earlier this month, something happened. The Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis the sun, could be seen in places around the world where they normally don't show up. Of course, with such phenomena come questions. What are these things? Where do they come from? Naturally, scientists have their own explanation.
So this solar storm hits the Earth, basically the Earth's outer magnetic field, and creates some consequences and interaction in terms of electric currents and magnetic field changes that accelerate the particles stored in the Earth's magnetic field, and they travel towards the poles.
And experts aren't the only eye in the sky. We, the original peoples of Turtle Island, have our own perspective on the Northern Lights. Gregory Cajedi is a Pueblo man from the Santa Clara Pueblo in New Mexico.
We just said these are the spirits dancing with each other. You know, they're dancing with each other. They're revealing themselves to us at this time, and reminding us that we are part of them, and inviting us also to dance with them, in this joy of being a part of this much larger cosmos.
And so as we take in what we see in the night skies, let's remind ourselves about the colorful array of stories that have brightened our lives. J.R. Brass, Indigen Eyes News, Regina, Saskatchewan.
That was deadly. And that's the last story of the segment of Indigen Eyes.
Oh no, it's not over.
Not even. We'll be back with more.
Welcome back to Indigen Eyes.
In this segment, we have two beautiful stories about beautiful things.
Before the first settlers set foot in the Americas, the indigenous peoples lived a vibrant, colorful world.
Art professor Audrey Drever teaches students different ways of understanding color. Here's reporter Shyla Myron with the story.
Professor Audrey Drever is using a mortar and pestle to break down the southern cactus bug. Only the female cochineal bug creates a vivid red pigment used for dyeing.
It's quite a satisfying process.
Drever is preparing her materials ahead of time for her new Indigenous Color Theory class. This summer, Drever is going to have her students make inks, paints, and dyes by using materials from the land.
The materials on the landscape and what it was that they actually used to create those colors, to draw the colors out. And that all connected to plants, stones or earth pigments, earth for pigments, and also insects.
This class isn't only going to be about making paints, inks, and dyes. The indigenous languages and science knowledge our ancient ancestor artists used is going to play an important part of the class.
How did they say those words in the past? Is this the way that they said them? Or is this a new way of saying them? And if it's a color that they didn't have in the past, then it connects you to directly to how our languages are a living language. So when you're looking at quills that were naturally dyed with, say, berries, you're looking at the transferring of pigment color or color from the raw materials to this other place, this quill, and that's chemistry.
We joined Jody Bellegarde, chemist and co-professor, to look at the red pigment under the microscope.
I think it's important that people understand, especially art students, Indigenous art students included, that there was a different relationship with color in Indigenous cultures than with Western cultures. And so how do we compare the two? Well, it's by looking to the land and gathering the pigments or the materials that will give us the colors that we want.
Shyla Myron, Indigen Eyes News.
That is so cool. I didn't know that there were classes like that.
That's because Audrey's is the first ever class like it in the world.
That's amazing.
Our next story is about an artistic tradition that has been around a lot longer than making ribbon skirts.
Chelsea visited a woman who has a house full of beautiful colors that she transforms into beautiful, wearable art. Chelsea Brissett brings us the story.
Tracy George Hayes from Ochapowace First Nation has been designing clothes for over 30 years.
I started sewing originally, hand sewing with my grandmother. She used to make moccasins and I'd sit beside her stringing beads. She was teaching me how to bead and how to sew, hand sew.
In the beginning, Tracy was sewing powwow outfits for herself and her family.
I really started sewing with a sewing machine when I was 12. My older sister taught me how to make a pattern for a shirt. And we had a meter of fabric, and that was the very first shirt I ever made.
She then branched out and started to sew for other people.
I started doing the shirts for powwow people and then rodeo people, and then it just translated into business people as well.
Her most popular item is the ribbon shirt, priced between $150 and $250. While she offers custom designs, she usually likes to keep 30 shirts in stock at all times.
The Manitoba First Nations men, they like hanging ribbons, loose ribbons. Part of them are tacked down, whereas in this area, I find that the First Nations community, the men prefer to have the whole ribbon tacked down.
Now she enjoys passing on her knowledge to others who want to learn.
I've been teaching sewing to others since 2000, and I want to make that a full-time gig rather than once every 3 months.
And she'll do that one stitch at a time. Chelsea Reset, Indigen Eyes News, Regina.
That was beautiful. What a great story. Thanks, Chelsea.
Well, we're coming to the end of our show, but we have 2 more stories to share.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Indigen Eyes.
Welcome back to Indigen Eyes from the First Nations University of Canada. My name is Tyrone Perot from Cowsas First Nation.
In this final segment, we get to meet the students who put the show together.
But first, we find out about the fuel that powered them through 3 grueling weeks of journalism training.
That's right, coffee. But not just any coffee. Coffee from Cook and Bee's Cafe.
Shania Geddes brews up that story for us.
The late Cook and Bee played a crucial role at the First Nations University. Today, her legacy lives on through Cook and Bee's Cafe, which provides a sense of stability for the students and the daycare at the university.
I knew her to be a very kind and approachable elder. She used to actually come up to me and start conversations, so it's very comfortable. She's a very kind person.
The cafe opened in October 2023. All the proceeds go to the child care center at the university and feeds the students and the faculty every day.
It's just important that we tell as many people about it as we can to just keep the business going and keep Cook and Bees alive.
Despite the passage of time, Cook and Bee's Cafe remains a historic pillar of the First Nations University, providing not just food, but also a sense of comfort to the students. Shania Geddes, Indigen Eyes, News Regina.
Yep, we wouldn't have made it through without our Cook and Bee coffee.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And our final story is about us, the students of the 2024 Inca Summer Institute in Journalism.
In the first week, we worked with Carrie Benjo from Eagle Feather News and Trish Elliott from Inca.
In week 2, we learned radio from Peter Skinner from CBC North, Paul Dornsdotter from CBC Saskatchewan, and Amber Bear from Mississippi Broadcasting, and Sarah Mills from Rolco Radio.
And in our final week, we learned from the best, Nelson Bird from CTV and Bruce Spence and Tamara Pimentel from APTN.
Samuel Tippawan brings us the story of us.
In June 2015, the Truth and Reconciliation released 94 calls to action. The Indigenous Communication Arts Summer Institute, now in its 32nd year at the First Nations University, is exercising the 84th call to action, the one on using the media to help reconciliation between Canadians and Indigenous peoples.
Well, I recently joined the new 4-year Indigenous Communication Arts degree, and I just thought this would be a great opportunity to enhance my skills in journalism and communications. Storytelling is crucial to Indigenous cultures, and so to bring that aspect of Indigenous storytelling to the media helps us have greater representation.
Nelson Bird is currently the assignment editor at CTV Regina News. He is an Inca alumni from 1997. He's teaching students how to do a new story from the ground up. He sees the value and strength the Inca Summer Institute provides.
I think that the Indigenous Communication Arts program is such a vital part of Canadian culture. It's not as well known as it could be or should be, but it will be.
Hannah Scott is from Regina. She's in the Summer Institute getting ready for the new 4-year Bachelor of Journalism program starting in September.
I think a lot of reconciliation efforts have been very long overdue and very one-sided for a very long time. So I'm excited to be a non-Indigenous person that's participating in these reconciliation movements. I just want to make sure that I'm doing it with the right values and the right understandings around Indigenous issues.
The Inca Summer Institute is a 1-month program which began in 1992. Indigenous Communications Arts itself started in 1982. The 4-year degree program starts in September. Samuel Tipwan, Indigen Eyes, Regina.
Thanks, Samuel. That was great.
What a week, what a month, what an institute.
I can't believe it's over.
It's not over, it's just beginning. Inca is expanding with new programs to teach students everything we need to know to be professionals.
So we can tell our stories through our eyes.
Through our Indigen eyes.
Exactly. Thanks to everyone who taught us. Thanks to everyone who inspired us. And thanks for watching Indigen Eyes.